what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds. Today I am ridiculously excited to introduce you to the very famous Mr. David Eccles from Eccles Estates. David, thank you so much for coming down to my house.
Yeah.
I feel almost in awe of you now. I've been watching you on YouTube, I've been seeing you blowing up. So give a little introduction. I'm sure most people know who you are. Anyone that doesn't, who is David Eccles?
I'm David. I was on the eviction this year, so we got to the final. We all got picked as the winners. I've done an FF challenge and it's just blowing up since.
And when you say you're doing an FF challenge, you mean I moved to your house?
Yeah.
In Ireland, spent a week with you. Well, we smashed it out the park.
That was brilliant. You came to Ireland to try your strategies and they definitely worked. You know, I've got a lease option agreement.
And that's actually in Ireland, by the way, not Northern Ireland.
No, that's in Ireland.
That's in Ireland itself.
Lease option agreement, rent to rent. We sold package and sold deals, and we've got an estate agent.
Yeah.
So set up.
Do you know what
business.
though? And we joint ventured on the deal on the seaside, which annoyingly we got gazumped. But you've gone and replaced it. You've now got a land deal. You've packaged and sold deals since then. I mean, what have you done in the last few weeks?
The last few weeks, 2 days ago, I sold a deal for £2,500.
Money in the bank?
Money's in the bank,
That's incredible. Because when you were working in construction, just to give you a little bit of a backstory.
Yes.
I mean, you were working previously before you were unemployed for, how long were you unemployed for?
About two and a half months.
Okay, before that though, what were you doing?
I was a plant operator.
What does that mean?
That means basically like on road construction, so a dumper driver.
Yeah.
Long days, sometimes very unpredictable, your work hours, sometimes 84-hour weeks.
Do you know what I loved as well in the documentary when we were driving and you saw some road construction workers and you were like, what a shit job! And I was like, what's the matter with you? And you were like, I used to do that. Oh, I'd never go back to that. I'd rather be unemployed.
Oh, it was horrible. So you do work Sundays, 12-hour shifts, 84-hour week. It's hard, and I'm glad. You have to work to make money.
Yeah.
And with the property game, you still work, but the money is, scalable.
It's much better. How much were you getting paid when you were digging roads?
£16 an hour.
Okay, that's not bad.
It's not bad, yeah, but you're putting in massive hours. You really have to work. You've got no time, so.
Okay, but £60 an hour's not terrible.
It's not bad, yeah.
But then you were also a contractor, so you never know when that work might stop, and then you've got a break.
This is the thing. I went home. I hadn't got a day off all year with the pandemic.
Yeah.
End of July, I took my first week off, and once I went home, they says that's you finished.
Yeah.
So everything just stopped, had a standstill. That's what happens.
You told me a couple months ago at your house that you couldn't make money in Ireland. You were like, Ireland, there's no jobs, there's no opportunities, you can't make money in Ireland. Do you still believe that?
No.
You changed your mind?
Changed my mind.
You can make money in Ireland!
Yeah, that's the thing. I always thought Ireland, right, you have to go get a job.
Yeah.
There's not many jobs there, but you can take your own action. Property works. I proved it, you proved it, and it inspired people too.
So now, I mean, it's obvious. Listen, I mean, and here's the thing as well. Like at the end of the Financial Freedom Challenge, we spent a week together. You secured a rent-to-rent, a lease option agreement. You packaged and sold some deals. You got a bunch of deals, made a bunch of money. Wonderful. But the Financial Freedom Challenge, it's not about actually making you financially free so that you never have to work again at the end of the week. That's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it really is to set you up so that you're set up for life. Financially, you've got the skills. So now, it's not like, oh, you're just resting on your laurels. You've got a lot of work to do. You've got to now pick up the pieces. You've got to now, and some of the deals that we, annoyingly, what happened with that Port Rush deal? Share the story, because I was gutted about that.
This is the first time I ever heard of it. We were the highest bidders.
Yeah, 165.
165. That was fine. Everything was done. The profit in that was going to be £100,000 from the house.
Yeah.
We were going to use the profits to build a property at the back, which was going to make at least another 100,000. So it was a £200,000 deal. I got a call. It was after the FF challenge.
Just after we finished. Yeah.
We finished on a Sunday. I got a call on a Tuesday to say offer's been accepted for 160,000 less, and they wouldn't let us up our offer, even though we were the highest offer. Proof of funds.
Did they view it before us or something?
I don't know.
But I remember saying to you at the time, and I was disappointed because I was joint venturing with you on that deal.
Yeah.
But I remember saying to you at the time, listen, rather than arguing with the agent and focusing on it and being like, oh no, it fell through. It's normal. Deals fall through all the time. So I said, just replace it. Just find another deal. And now you've got this.
I've got a better deal.
Tell me about this one.
Like that too, was looking at properties. I just thought, I'm sick looking at properties today. I'm going to look up land because I did the deep dive.
Yeah.
I says, I'm going to put my knowledge to that because you always say if you don't use it, you lose it. So I says, I'm not going to lose it. So I took out my notepad from my notes, went through everything, and about half a mile up the road, there is a site for like £600,000. Went in and walked out the GD fees. The average GD fee coming in from the agent is 1.7 million, and to build 3 properties, it's going to be probably £400,000 or £500,000.
So what are you going to do with it?
There's a couple of either I'm going to try and JV. I'm going to either try and maybe get in on the deal some way that I can get a cut of the profit.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you can find deals, that's the skill that you got from the training and from the Financial Freedom Challenge.
Exactly.
Yes, you made a bunch of money and you got some deals, but you got the skills to go and do more and more and more. So I'm really, really, really excited. My biggest fear when I go and do the Financial Freedom Challenge with people is that when I leave, their mindset and their money thermostat, you know, if you win the lottery, you lose the money again.
Yes, you did say that.
I'm like thinking, if I help them, if I set them up for financial freedom, is that kind of like them winning the lottery, and then when I leave, they're going to mess it up?
I think the good thing about our Financial Freedom Challenge was the affection. You know what we're capable of, that you wouldn't have picked us if you thought we were going to drop off.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
That definitely is true, because once you left, you kind of get greedy. You think, all right, I made 10 grand this week. I want to keep, making money. And you sat there one day, Evans did mention it on his, about the thermostat, that it did change. I was happy with £16 an hour. Now I've got 2,500 in one day.
Yeah.
So it's scalable,
It changes the way you think about money. Because that's the thing. When I did my first Financial Freedom Challenge with Glenn, and then, Glenn did really well. Glenn made lots and lots of money, and even 6 months after the challenge he went on, he made like 55, 60 grand, but then he was using the money and he was he bought a property from auction without looking at it, didn't get a survey on it, and he lost a load of money on it. And I said to him, we had a chat, me and Glenn are still close and friends today, but I said to him, it's almost like you've learned how to make money, but you haven't learned how to preserve wealth.
Yeah.
Which means that it's just going to be like a bucket. You can keep throwing water at it, but if the bucket's got holes in it, the water's going to come out. Glenn's doing really well today, and he's a top guy. But I think when I went to your house, and when I went to Evan's house, and when I went to Lawton's house and helped them become financially free, one of the things that I was really conscious of was also trying to change their blueprint, trying to change their thermostat. And that's really hard, because when someone's been programmed their whole life to make a certain amount of money, to live a certain lifestyle, and that's why when I was with Evans, I said to Evans, "You're moving house," and Evans moved into the nice apartment. What do you think about that? What do you think about the whole thermostat thing?
Definitely true. A lot of people are they think, property, you need money, it's risky, it's too good to be true. Just get a good paid job, so they're happy with 10, 12 euros an hour. And when you come in and say, you're going to do this, you're going to have your own house, you're going to have a business at the end of the week, you think you're going to lose everything, you're going to be, it is true. What you say, it is true, but it's really programming. I knew I could do it, but I think other people don't believe it.
Yeah.
And it's changing the thermostat, and I think, as a society, they think, just stay safe, play it safe. And
what you're talking about now is you're talking about environment.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the ways to change your money, and listen, anyone that's listening is thinking, what on earth are you talking about? If you set a room for 21 degrees, the room's going to be 21 degrees. It might be a bit higher if there's lots of people in the room. It might drop a bit if the window's open, but it's going to end up at 21 degrees. If your money blueprint is set to be broke, you could win the lottery, you could do a Financial Freedom Challenge with me, but you're going to lose it and you're going to end up being broke, because that's where you're set. And that's what we're talking about, how to change that blueprint. And I think one of the best ways to change it is environment, who you're around. Jim Rohn says that the makeup of the 5 people that you spend the most time with is going to be what you're like. Dan Pena, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So one of the things that I've done with you is you've gone through the Financial Freedom Challenge, but now you've also got people around, Success Buddies, Samuel 365, the community, Evans, Lawton, the team that you're now plugged into, not to do work for you or to do anything for you, but just to be around you, so that when you've got people that aren't believing in you and people from back home or whatever, they're like, well, it sounds too good to be true. You've also got people that are pulling you up. What's the support been like that you've had there?
That's a big one. Believe it or not, one of the investors actually got for the Financial Freedom was on the 365.
Yeah.
So, yes, your network, you always talk about environment. I think you do succeed. On the fiction, we had deadlines, and I think everyone was there for success, and it definitely gets results. The 365, it's life-changing.
Yeah.
It's like £95 a month, but it's a small payment. I've made 2,500 in one day. You've got everyone there answering each other's questions. Like, if you need a builder in there, contact this person. They're all pulling together.
Yeah.
And nobody gets jealous of people. They're all want to see success, and it definitely success breeds success. So.
Absolutely. And environment is stronger than willpower.
Definitely.
You can try and psych yourself up and motivate yourself, but if you're not around good people pulling you up, you're going to really, really struggle. Okay, top 3 things you learned, because I think education is really important. The Financial Freedom Challenge wasn't just about getting results, it was also about changing what you know and who you are as a person and helping you improve yourself. So what are the top 3 things that you learned throughout the week?
Top 3 things, it's training. I wouldn't have done that without training. It's impossible because, yes, you can watch YouTube, you can do this, but it's only so much. You need to do the training. If you can't invest in yourself, you don't trust yourself.
Yeah.
Training's a small thing. Being persistent, you do get a lot of knockbacks. Knockbacks, it happens even today. You do get knockbacks, but you have to keep fighting through these here. And I think the other one is belief.
Yeah.
I do think if you don't believe in your own ability, well, nobody will.
Yeah.
And I think I had a little bit of that, but you believed in my ability and, you brought it out, and I believe in myself, and that's how you get results.
So belief, persistence, and training.
Definitely.
Important, and that's really solid. What about the time when you were calling up agents and we had about 2 or 3 viewings booked, and then you spoke to one agent in person? I think you saw an agent just coming outside of a property, and I was like, oh, there's an estate agent. Go and ask her if she's got any properties. and you sheepishly went over and were like, excuse me, do you have any? And I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think she saw that we were filming. She didn't like the look of you. She saw me sheepishly standing in the background, loitering in the street where I'm from England, I don't know the area. And she basically was a little bit dismissive of you and just sort of said, no, sorry, you shouldn't be out here asking me. We're in lockdown. Why are you filming? And she kind of shut you down. And then you came over to me, and I think you thought that we were going to take a nice break and have a counselling session and whatever. But I was just like, all right, don't worry, ring the agent. And you were like, oh, you needed to get over what just happened, I think. And then you were like, we've actually got a few viewings already booked. I think it's a full day. Do you remember? I was like, no, it's not a full day. We've got 2 or 3 viewings for the rest of the day. I think it's a full day. Talk to me about from your point of perspective, what happened?
That's true, because I did get a knockback. I was thinking, oh, what do I do? What do I say? You just said, forget about it, move on. And I thought 3 viewings was a big day out, basically.
I was thinking we could do that in an hour and a half. And a day has got 24 hours in it, come on.
Because that was you always say whoever views the most houses wins. I always thought, we'll just pick 3 good houses. But we went there's problems with houses that they don't look like they're on the pictures. So I think when you go and look at 10, 12 houses, you can pick the best 3, you'll package them. If you just go for 3 houses, which was the big day out, basically, it doesn't work. And that's why then, if they're all crap, you've got no results.
And also sometimes you might think a house is going to be good, but it's bad. Or you might think a house isn't going to be good and it's brilliant.
Yes.
Or you might view a house that's not that great, but the agent's got another one down the road. And that happened to us. Land. You were convinced that your uncle was going to give you a piece of land. You were going to build a nice little house on it. It was all going to be wonderful. but that plan was pulled from beneath your feet.
Yeah.
What happened?
The uncle was really nice. We agreed to have the land. Everything was set in stone, but I think you came and looked at it. You said it's going to be a problem with the access.
Yeah.
And the sky, the perimeters, basically.
Basically just getting planning on it.
Planning permission was the site was nice. I always thought this is the perfect view, but that's where the training came in again, from, you said you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So that ripped my plan. That was the main goal too.
You were devastated.
Yeah.
And also you went and checked out with the council afterwards and it turned out that I was right.
You were right, yeah, Lee says it's impossible. You definitely will not get planning there, and I should have done that, but I just thought this was nice.
After that, you were so convinced in your fantasy world that you had to buy a piece of land and build your own home in Ireland. Like, in your mind, that was the plan.
Yeah.
And when you found out you couldn't get planning on that land, you were like finding other pieces of land.
Yeah.
What about this piece of land? What about that piece of land? And you were so set on building your own house. And I'm just like, dude, you don't need to do that. You can just rent somewhere, or you can just, like, in the end, we ended up doing a lease option agreement on a house that you can live in. But why were you so set on that?
I think it's your own personal touch. You can buy houses, but I think if it's your own site, do your own land, it's your own touch.
When did the penny drop that it was a bad idea? Or at least a bad time?
Definitely. I think the last site we looked at, it's in the middle of a park. And
Beautiful place.
It was cheaper to buy a house next door than to build a house.
Yeah.
Because the land was like 55,000.
And then it's going to cost you probably 85 grand to build it.
Yeah.
And you could buy a brand new one for 120.
Yeah.
So it costs more to build it.
And yeah, as I say, you've got through the whole problems, raising finance, certain mortgages. It was just easier to get a buy to let.
And not only that, but also, if you bought your own house to live in, you could put down a small deposit.
Yeah.
If you have to build it, you're going to have to get development finance, which is expensive.
Yes, that's it.
It just didn't make sense. And I said to you, I'm like, dude, it's the kind of thing that you can do when you're financially free, got a successful business. And I said to you, rather than focusing on trying to build your own house, you need to focus on building something else.
That's when the penny dropped.
What did I say?
He says, why don't you put the money into the business, build your business, and then use the profits from your business to put into your own house. And then that's when it dropped. Realised that if I use all my money, I think that's what a lot of people do. They seem to build their own house, a lovely house, but they've got no money. But I think you said it was like planting a tree. One time, if you really nurture it, it's going to produce apples, and it's like building your business. If I nurture it, do well, it's going to keep producing the profits.
Yeah.
And that's when the penny dropped. Then I thought, it just the bubble busted.
Yeah, but it's also it's a better plan, because if you put everything into building a house, you might own your own house that you've built, but you're broke.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people around your area are like.
That's what they do. I think they've got a mindset of, I don't want a mortgage, so they'll go to like Australia, whatever, England, save up all their money, build a house, they're set up, but then they're back working at jobs that they don't like. So it's a bit back to front, but it's definitely, it's the best way forward.
However, we then secured a lease option agreement on a property. So now you have got a home
I do,
in Ireland. There's a tenant in there at the moment.
Yeah.
But what do you do now, living wise? Because I know at the moment you seem to be back and forth a little bit. Like, what's going on?
Back home, I've got an option now. I thought I wanted to be home. To get home, I needed to do this. You've done that and more. Now I've got an option. Like, well, I can scale the business here in the UK. I can do business in Ireland, and that's what I'm at now.
So you're kind of just doing a bit of stuff in Ireland, a bit of stuff in the UK?
I can do whatever I want now. I'm actually going home this weekend for 3 weeks. And
when you say home, you mean Ireland?
Ireland, yeah, and it's all choice. I've got investors looking for deals there. It's basically changed now. So
it's so interesting, because you were so set before on I need to move home, but to do that I need to get a piece of land where I can build. I'll live in a static caravan. You have this idea, and actually I think as well, a lot of people don't like the idea of debt. They don't understand the concept of cash flow.
No.
They just think of money in the bank rather than money dripping in. You've got your rent-to-rents and stuff like that, which is dripping money in.
Yeah.
You've got your deal sourcing, which is quick cash. You're happy to get into debt as long as it's good debt. And I said to you, I said, dude, if you get into debt, to buy a piece of land to build a house on it, that's bad debt.
Yeah.
Whereas if you, because how are you going to pay it back? And people think, oh, I'm an advocate for debt. I'm not. I'm an advocate for good, smart business, sophisticated business. So we really changed with some life goals a bit.
Yeah, I will pick up on that because people, you mentioned debt, they think, oh, this is terrible, or credit cards or anything. They don't understand. They just think debt's debt. Good debt is, you say, buy something that's generating a cash flow that can pay for something else.
Yeah.
And bad debt, you told me about the house that I couldn't rent the house because it was mine and I would have to keep paying a mortgage.
Yeah.
That will be good debt if I could have a business scalable that's going to pay for that mortgage, so it's technically a free house.
I got a lot of people asking about why that whole bit, so people don't understand the context of it, because in the documentary there was one point where you said, I've got 2 words for you, Joe, F you. Like, what was going on there? And give me some context to that.
I started last February, the 2020, just before the lockdown.
Right.
This was the crash course.
I think it was the crash course, the last crash course before lockdown.
I think it might have been, yeah. So
or one of, but you were there. Okay, tell me what
says
happened.
I'll go to Bristol, see what Samuel's about. So went there, and like that too, had this little voice in my head saying, oh, do I go for I actually had everything ready to go to do the DSM.
Yeah.
And this thing, I'm going to do it, and it's just money that I need. And I was like, I don't know if I can afford it now. And then Joe Lysett came in and he was saying, don't do the training, don't do this. And then I thought, I held back.
Yeah.
So that was the worst thing, the best thing and the worst thing that happened to me, because I didn't do the training that day.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up.
So you were kind of just, let me get this right, because this is terrible. So you were on the verge, February 2020, of going all in for property.
I was
deal selling.
Yes.
Going all in.
I had it there. I had it.
You were about to register for some training.
Yeah.
And you were about, not just register, forget training. You were about to go all in. Right? Yeah. Forget the training. More a case of you were about to go all in on property. Joe Lysett, a comedian, came into the crash course and told you not to do the training, caused a big scene, and that made you have a little voice thinking, maybe I shouldn't. You backed off.
Yeah.
It took you almost a year later before you actually thought, nah, you know what, I'm going to go for the eviction, and and basically slowed you down on your journey for a year.
Yeah.
So that was why you said, F you, Joe.
Basically, he did stop me that day, and 2 things, I would have been a lot further on in property, but on the flip side of it, you know, it made me rethink to say, well, you know what you're talking, a lot of people out there is talking skeptical, and
yeah.
I went all in, and now it changed. I've done the eviction, I've done a FF challenge, I've made, that money I made that day, you know, what I've made there on Monday, that 2,500, I could never make that in one day unless you won a prize. Basically,
yeah.
It's so. Joe Lysett, you know, he did put me off, and now when I look back, that how much he slowed me up, I was really basically pissed off.
He ought to be ashamed of himself, because if Joe Lysett put you off, how many other people did he put off?
Exactly.
How many other people did he pull their dreams? Like when I pull someone's dream from them, like when I pulled your dream of buying your own house to live in, the reason I pulled that dream from you is because it didn't work.
Yeah.
It was a dream, but it wasn't backed with facts and evidence that would actually work. It wasn't practical. So I'm like, dude, that's not going to work.
No.
I'm actually saving you. What Joe Lysett did was he pulled a dream from you, which was actually something that does work. Which is being a deal sourcer, which every single week on Winners on a Wednesday, people come on and share about how they're making money in property, being a property investor, a property entrepreneur. He was like, no, you're too poor to do that. You're vulnerable. You can't, and he pulled that from you and actually stopped you for a year and stopped many other people potentially forever.
He did stop. I had the form ready to sign it, and I listened to him. I thought maybe he's right, and I stopped. I went home. I was still full of energy, like I'm looking at property, and then that just died off.
Yeah,
and
you just put a little,
I thought, all right, maybe property is too good to be true, and I gave up on it, and then I just came back. I said, you know what, it's not, because I kept watching Winners on a Wednesday.
Thinking that could be me.
And I started reaching out to people, and I realised their story was so genuine, I thought, I'm going to give this a go. Yeah. I applied, and I got on the eviction, and it just blowing up. So I was to fly home that Friday morning,
Yeah.
and I got a call on the Thursday night to say, "Do you want to be part of the eviction?" And I did.
Yeah.
Took the action, and now.
And you actually didn't have to pay for the eviction.
No, everything.
I mean, you had to pay for hotels and stuff, and you had to pay for petrol, and but you didn't even end up paying for the training that you did.
I've been so thankful. That has changed my life. I've got everything out of it and more. You know, and maybe it worked out a good thing, because maybe I wouldn't have got this opportunity. You know, that I really did come back.
Yeah. So what would your message be to someone watching this that's maybe where you were a year ago? You know, they're thinking, I want to be a property investor, I want to be a property entrepreneur, haven't really got much money, don't really know. I mean, what would your advice be in terms of mindset and your practical advice and how to help them out?
Well, if you don't do it now, you'll never do it. You can go back to your job and complain and say, I should have done this, should have done that. But if you invest in yourself, you do the training, it's like $995 for DSM. You can co-deal source. You don't have to register a business. You can co-deal source, and you're going to make that back in the first deal, and it's scalable. Like you can make. When you started the very first day on the eviction, you had up a board saying like, this person's making 10 grand a month, and I thought that's a lot of money. And now, since I sold the deal on Monday for 2.5, I was like, this one day in the month, 10 grand's not a lot.
I know, and that deal that you sold was nothing to do with me.
No.
I only found out about it just now. When I said what you've been up to since the challenge. Another thing as well is really interesting. I was on the plane on the way back to England after the Financial Freedom Challenge. My wife was heavily pregnant.
Oh, I can't.
Right. So I literally got back, and pretty much straight away she had the baby. So timing wise, it was a close call, because I almost couldn't come to Ireland and almost put it back more. But I thought, you know what, Joe Lycett has already delayed you enough.
Yeah.
You know, we cannot delay this anymore. So I came out when she was 9 months pregnant. We did what we did. What in just a few words, what was the week like itself?
Oh, that was brilliant. It was hard, you know, but really reality, this is what you have to do, is get on there, go to the properties. All the people would sit, look at a laptop all day. There's no houses. You always say, get out there, talk to agents.
Yeah.
What have you got? You know, they've got deals. We got the rent to rent. How do we fund this? So we went to Belfast, we looked Portrush, Derry, we found deals. You can do your own FF challenge. You don't need you to do it. And this is the thing, everyone's like, can you come to my house to do an FF? Looking back, you don't need you. If you have the training, just do it. Just get out there.
True.
You don't need, everyone thinks, I need Samuel, can you come to my house? But everything's there. If you've done the training, just implement it.
I love that point. It's like people think I've got a magic wand, I'm going to wave it over them. No, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come around you at the house, I'm going to share with them the skills and strategies, kick them up the bum, and assist them. But as you've said, you can come on the crash course.
Yeah.
The crash course is a free training program. It's free. Like, you know, I don't have to physically come to your house. I'm putting the training on for everybody. It's open for all. And Samuel 365, £95 a month.
And the first week, it's free too. So people don't even join up. Go and network, get out there. £95 a month. They might, it's £95 a month, but you're going to make that money tenfold.
Yeah. And for that, you get unlimited mentoring, unlimited coaching and support.
And I don't know if you know this, but that's how I actually got on the eviction.
Go on.
Because it was my first ever call, and I was like, I think it was with Tony Crook, and it was at like 2 o'clock, and then I was back to that again, kind of making up excuses. I'm a bit too busy today, and I said, you know, I'll just do the call. So done the call. Tony really gave me good guidance on a rent to rent, what way I should structure it. And I said, did you apply for the eviction? I said I did. Didn't get picked. And I got talking to him, and he gave me a call back that evening saying that somebody dropped out. And it's back to that again. People say, oh, if I got the chance, I would take it. People got the chance and still didn't do it. Yeah. Excuses. And now they're probably at their work today thinking, oh, I should have done the training. So that all came from the 365 call.
That's amazing.
So it was the best £95 I ever spent.
Yeah. Well,
and it's unlimited calls. You've got, your daily routines. You've got calls to you. You've got calls to Alistair, Tony, David Taylor, everybody. So I can't recommend that enough, you know.
At the end of the week, I told you need to start building your own business. You set up now your own business.
Set up my own estate agent.
What's it called?
Eccles Estates.
Eccles Estates. Such a good ring to it.
It
So
is.
what's the plan with Eccles Estates now? What's the plan with the business?
So now what I'm going to do is set up that in Northern Ireland. Because it's UK, it's easier for me to keep it UK to UK. The property market there is booming at the moment. So I'm going to get properties onto that, start selling it. And maybe if I do deal source, it's going to be it's not like a conflict of interest. I'm going to keep that a bit separate. If I sell a deal to an investor, once they finish the refurb, I can put that deal on through my estate agent. So that keeps me, whenever I do move home, I've got a scalable business there now, working for myself, and you advise me to do that. So
yeah, I think it makes sense. Because when we were out and about in Northern Ireland, we were saying the estate agents, some of them aren't that great.
No,
and you were like, I could do a better job with this.
Exactly.
So I think that's a really good build of business. It goes alongside deal sourcing.
Yeah.
Someone wants to get in touch with you, whether it be for if they want to buy a deal off you, or if they just want to send you a message of congratulations or whatever it might be. How's the best way to connect?
I've got a lot of people reaching out. You know, they call me, they get through Facebook, Instagram. Every single person I message me, I get back to everyone.
Yeah.
You know, you always say, don't keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
You help me, and if I can help somebody else, I will do that. So if they reach out, I will get back, and that's what I want to do now. Is start
How do we reach out?
Facebook, Instagram.
What's your Instagram?
David_Eccles 90.
Great. David_Eccles 90. Is that your date of birth? 90?
Yeah.
Great. Love that. And also as well, your online presence has been blowing up. In fact, when you were in Ireland, people were recognising you.
I actually I couldn't believe it. Just to realise how big it was, I rang an estate agent. I've never done Belfast before, so he's like, "Oh, were you on the eviction?" I was like, "Oh, who is this?" He's like, "You're David Eccles, because you said to say I'm off the business partner," and it's like, "Samuel Leeds, is that Samuel Leeds?" And then we actually turned up to that agent.
Crazy.
So a lot of people. It's a small world. Property is a small world, and it's a lot smaller than what you think.
Yeah.
You think nobody knows, but people do know who you are, and it's a really, really good market.
Yeah.
You know, I think I loved it, and it proved it now to a lot of people that Northern Ireland is brilliant.
And you're getting a lot of business from social media.
Massive.
The deal that you just sold was on Instagram.
Believe it or not, 2 of my deeds I sold was on Instagram. I've got people asking to joint venture.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's nearly too much to take in. I've got deals coming in my way, co-deal sourcers.
Yeah.
It's scaling, so it's really
But it can't
fast.
be too much to take in. That has to become the new normal. Your thermostat's now changed.
I know, it's turned up.
Yeah.
And it's at a stage now that I'm thinking, okay, this is getting so big that do I have to employ somebody? That's the stage it's got to now within a few weeks.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking, from being unemployed to do I have to employ somebody? That's how quick it's going.
Yeah, yeah. When do you reckon you'll employ somebody?
Well, my partner is into admin, so really that's really helping me on the websites.
Yeah.
That end of things.
Is she looking to leave her job soon?
Yeah.
When do you reckon she'll leave her job?
I would say in the next few months.
Wow, brilliant.
Because everything is ticking off that quick that
It's still fresh. This is like weeks. We're only weeks into it.
Yeah, I know. And I sold the rent to rent too, so it does work. It's all the strategies.
Not
work.
your rent to rent, no. In Ireland.
No.
You sold a different rent to rent.
I says I'm going to ring. Some people reached out to me. I says, right, I'm going to go to Liverpool to meet them.
Yeah.
And I said, right, to make it worth my while, I want to do something when I'm there. So I was literally my first ever call to Liverpool, and I rang about a rent to rent. I secured it over the phone, and I deal sourced it to them.
Wow. So hang on a minute. Someone says, can you meet me in Liverpool?
Yeah.
You agree to meet.
Yeah.
And then before you go, you ring up some agents in the area, you secure a rent to rent.
Yeah.
And then when you get to Liverpool, you have your meeting.
Yeah.
And then you go and view the agent, and then you sell the rent to rent to the people that you're meeting.
Yeah.
For how? What?
where I got that idea from, you said you spoke in Belfast once.
Yeah, yes.
You told me that. I says, all right. And then you says, well, you said you didn't get paid for it.
Correct.
And you says you went and you sold a deal to make it worth your while. So
Yeah.
I was trying to be the Samuel Eat.
That's exactly right. I had a speaking engagement in Belfast.
Yeah.
I said, I'll come and speak at your event. This is some years ago. I said, I'll speak. How much are you going to pay me? And they said, we can't pay you. We've got no budget. It was actually Simon Zushi's pin meeting.
Yeah.
I said, no problem. They said, we'll pay your flights and expenses and stuff. I thought, well, I can't go for free. But what I'll do is I'll go, and while I'm en route, I'll book some viewings, and I did exactly that.
Yeah.
So it's so good to see you doing the same thing.
Yeah, I was trying to implement what you said. So I found the rent to rent. It was literally perfect, and I was trying to underestimate it at about £400 a month's profit, and it's looking like it's going to get £700.
Great.
750 profit.
Nice.
Everything was fully furnished.
Do you wish you'd kept it for yourself?
Yes and no. I could help other people. You know, they're local. It gets them kind of on the property.
Are they from Liverpool?
Yeah.
So you've got a meeting in Liverpool with some Liverpool ladies.
Yeah.
You find a deal in their hometown while you're en route, and then when you get there, you sell it to them. Dude, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And it gets them on the property ladder. Do you know, it pays. They says that profit is going to pay their rent.
Yeah.
And it's extra. So they're happy. I'm happy.
What about when you got inside your rent to rent and you were like, I want to live here?
I know. I thought this was cheap. You know, it was like $650 a month, and I thought if I could get money from
Renting the rooms out.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, you don't want to live in a friggin', you know, now that's on, you listed that on Airbnb,
Yeah.
and how's that going?
That's good. That's fully booked up into August the 10th.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
dude, you're friggin' killing it. I'm so glad you came onto the show. Guys, I'm sure you can appreciate how well he's done, how far he's come in such a short space of time. This is, you know, this is Winners on a Wednesday, but I'm going to get him back on the channel, probably 6-12 months, and we'll see how he's doing once he had a bit more time to really grow his business and his ventures. Hey, show some support for David. Smash the like button. Also, if you haven't seen his documentary yet, check it out. Check it out. You can watch the full part 1 and part 2 series right up here. Check it out. Watch the playlist, it's incredible. Don't forget to subscribe as well, you can do that right here. And also join me at the crash course where you can learn to do the exact same thing too. On the house, I'll see you there. God bless.